Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to another StarCraft 2 video. Now what I got for you today is a professional match of Protoss versus Zerg. Spawning here in the top left hand corner of Dreamcatcher LE and playing with the blue Protoss probes. He's from the Netherlands, we have none other than Harstem. And his opponent spawning in the opposite corner of the map. He's playing with the red Zerg drones. He's from Italy. I've quickly become a bit of a fanboy of this man right here. We have none other than Reynor. So Reynor, I mean, I've covered him in probably over a dozen videos at this point. Actually, the same can really be said about Harstem. But I think I started casting Reynor games about a year and a half or so ago. And ever since then, he's become an absolute force to be reckoned with. Obviously, he only recently turned 16 years old. And he actually made it past the round of 32 at the GSL Code S. Essentially the highest level tournament in all of SC2 at the age of 16. I believe they're actually going to be playing the round of 16 matches in like a week and a half to like 2 weeks or so from now. So I'm definitely going to be checking those out because I think that Reynor definitely does have a shot. I don't really want to spoil it for you. But if you want to see a really sick game after this match obviously concludes, right? I don't want you to click away right now. That'd be awful, no. But if you want to see a really sick match of professional SC2, look up the round of 32 match that Reynor recently played against Classic at the GSL Code S. This is obviously Season 3, GSL Code S 2018. Game 2, I believe, is what it was on Lost and Found, if I recall correctly. Regardless, that is easily one of the sickest matches of... it's easily one of the sickest matches of StarCraft 2 that I've ever seen. Highly recommend you go ahead and check it out, because it's definitely worth watching. Anyways, let us have a look at what both of these players have got in store for us today. Harstem, of course, a very high-level Protoss player over here in Europe. I've always been a fan of this man just because of the fact that he's from the Netherlands and, you know, besides that, he's obviously also an amazingly strong and very accomplished Protoss player. When I first started watching SC2 myself, obviously the first thing you really think about is like, hey, what pro gamers live in my country, right? What pro gamers can I relate directly to? Who may be living within like an hour of where I live, you know what I mean? And Harstem definitely is one of those guys. Although I don't think he actually lives within an hour. He is indeed from the same country, and obviously, because of that, I always try and keep close track of all of the Dutch players' accomplishments as well. Looks like we have a very, very standard Stargate Opener here from Harstem. Third hatchery is already coming up here for Reynor, so definitely nothing out of the ordinary here just yet for him either. Just simply going into the Zergling speed and now also scouting here with an Overlord. Now Reynor's playstyle, it very much so reminds me of Zero in a way. He is very, very good at all of the Zergling run-bys, and he just simply doesn't really die in the early game. He, generally speaking, doesn't take a lot of damage, but in some of the games that I've watched him play, he does look a little vulnerable to, for example, like, you know, several odd strategies. Say, for example, Protoss opens up with like a second Stargate, or, for example, if they go for a whole bunch of Adepts when he's expecting Archon drops. If it's something out of the ordinary, you can definitely still deal damage to Reynor, but, you know, that's really the one thing that I feel like separates him from Zero. Zero really doesn't take any damage whatsoever. But that's really just a matter of playing and seeing every single scenario 1,000 times, right? If you've played 1,000 StarCraft 2 games, you're obviously way better than you were when you played 100 games. And obviously, if you just simply need to play more games, it's just a matter of time. So I feel like Reynor really has a chance at becoming one of the greatest StarCraft 2 players, at the very least, outside of South Korea. We'll have to see. Only time will tell. First Phoenix now obviously out though. Phoenix openers, very, very common currently in the meta. Followed up by an Oracle. This will help out a lot with harassment, of course, but also with taking a third base after said harassment. It also helps a lot against early game pressure if the Zergling, for example, or if the Zerglings rather came out in bigger numbers, they could easily take care of that too. But Harstem is now finding his way towards the main base of the Zerg player, but already beautiful deflection there by Reynor. He doesn't really get anything done. He will try and get back in there just to be, to leave the Zerg player on his toes there, but Harstem will indeed be forced back here for the time being. Now here's what I was talking about, right? So this is relatively uncommon. We do see the Glaive Adept upgrade now coming out that basically increases the attack speed of Adepts quite significantly. I believe it's 40% in total. And obviously Adepts are absolutely phenomenal at killing Zerglings, Hydralisks, as well as, more importantly, drones. Now we do see that third base now going up at 4 minutes and 45-ish seconds. That's a pretty normal timing there for a Protoss. So I wouldn't be surprised right now if Reynor was thinking, hey, wait a second. There's a good chance that there are going to be, for example, Archons coming from the other side of the map soon. It's very difficult now that Phoenix is out for the Zerg player to scout out what is going on. He doesn't really know exactly what's happening. And even though Harstem isn't really committing to this very heavily at all, he's only really got 3 gateways. He's now going to follow it up with a Robo. He is moving across the map with a rather large army of Adepts. That's 8 Adepts in total. 14 Zerglings are coming up right now. There's 6 out at this point as well, but no Roaches whatsoever just yet. And here we go. A relatively odd build order. Really only a 3-gate pressure, but this definitely is going to cost the Zerg player a ton of drones. Beautiful move here by Harstem, playing very much so to his opponent rather than the matchup. All of the Adepts now shading towards that main base as well. You blink twice. Don't do it because the drones are going to be gone here as well. Zerglings now first off taken care of. 8 workers going down here for the time being. And actually, Reynor, rather than just simply continuing making units, he's decided he's got enough units to clean this up. Instead, he's already droning here. Mass recall will be forced. Actually, really smart move there as well by Protoss. The thing is, the reason why this build is still rather underutilized for Protoss is because of the Zerg counterattack. Reynor, though, I mean, we already see that he's following this up with a lot of workers. But oftentimes when you throw away like 12 or so Adepts, right, and the Zerg just simply makes non-stop Roaches to defend it, what happens is that Zerg goes for a massive counterattack and all of a sudden you have nothing at home to defend if you are the Protoss player. So I really like that mass recall just to leave those units at home because obviously Harstem doesn't know really what it is the Zerg player has got in store for us. Already though, the Immortals being chrono boosted out, Harstem is expecting the counterattack, but it is not happening at this point in the game. So what is Reynor doing? Reynor is now going for, wow, a really quick infestation pit. We don't see a 4th hatchery just yet. I was gonna say, I think he needs to send one over here in just a little bit. I think that was a drone moving. There we go. Yeah, he does really need a 3rd, or rather a 4th hatchery here in just a bit. He does have more than enough saturation on the bases that he does have. But infestation pit would indicate either a really quick hive or maybe swarm host play? I haven't really seen swarm hosts very often, but I do know that they do have a lot of potential, in particular on a map like this, right, where you have these ridges. You can basically just stand on the other side of it and you can continuously rain locusts over the crevice, I suppose. Yeah, look at that. 6 swarm hosts coming up. Very interesting. So rather than switching to a much more standard, like, you know, Hydra and then like Lurker style or even like really quick Brute Lords, I really do like this decision. The thing is though, with swarm hosts, you do want to continuously be aggressive. A couple of Adepts that are trying to be a nuisance. Nicely done here. You don't really need them desperately anymore, but that's still 3 workers for 2 Adepts. Definitely a trade Harstem would like to make with them right now. Now, here's the thing. Swarm hosts are great if you can continuously be aggressive. I don't really see them work very often in Zerg versus Protoss because Zerg maxes out really quickly and then you're kind of stuck on a relatively weak army. The thing is, Roaches are 2 supply each, obviously. They're already very, very supply inefficient. You don't really want to max out on Roaches necessarily just because they're not that powerful for the amount of supply that they cost. But Swarm Hosts are even worse. They are 3 supply each. So even though Zerg just, you know, skyrocketed as far as that army supply goes, there's no denying that that it's not the most powerful force here. Now, I love this, though. Harstem now taking a 4th base. Zerg is trying to pull the opponent apart here with the, you know, units forced towards the 4th as well. And then all of a sudden, the Locusts fly over towards that 4th Nexus here as well. Probes will fall very rapidly. Look at that. 7 probes in just a matter of seconds. And obviously, right, since Reynor did do only a couple of Locusts there initially, he's going to be able to continuously send these waves forward. I wonder if he's going to send half of the Locusts forward every time he gets the chance. Regardless, 4th hatchery now has been taken here by Reynor. He's going to be able to start mining from it as well, but he still doesn't have a massive eco. Now, actually going for the gold base. I really like this. Now, obviously, while the Locusts are on cooldown, Zerg is very vulnerable. It's very, very easy. A nice little run by here, by the way, with a couple of units. Harstem are doing the same here inside of that main base. But while the Locusts are on cooldown, he's very, very vulnerable. Once again, though, Locusts are moving forward. Archon's taking a lot of damage. You definitely do not want to lose those. But I do like the way that Harstem is dealing with this so far, though. Reynor needs to continuously be aggressive. As long as Harstem doesn't lose any of his really, really expensive units, he's gonna be fine. He can easily just simply keep all of these units alive using shield batteries and whatnot. And then as soon as he maxes out, he can go for a move across the map. I think that's the best option right now for Harstem. He's going for the Archons, he's going for a lot of Immortals as well, and now going for additional gateways. Just simply maxing out and then moving before Brute Lords can come out is a great option. Now, obviously, though, right, Reynor so far definitely showing us that he wants to keep this Zerg, or rather this Protoss player, back as much as possible. Once again, moving forward with a lot of these roaches. He can easily replenish those. Once again, a massive Locust wave making their way towards the High Templar. I think that's 2 High Templar there that ended up dying, and that's very, very painful. Zerg, though, still maxed out, still recuperating most of those losses with these roaches as well. We do see the Hive now just about to finish up. A lot of roaches actually now left at home as well, just because of that single War Prism being a nuisance. Gold base now finished up as well, and I actually really like this. Now, obviously, with those revealed units, right, with Revelation on a lot of these roaches and Ravagers, Harstem now knows that there is a gold base pretty close to where he's mining himself. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sets forth an expedition towards that area in just a bit, but once again, here come the Locust. Which one of these units is he going to target fire down? He's trying to go after the Archons, really not getting it just yet, but this army is so stupidly cost efficient, right? Look at the amount of units that have been lost here for Zerg compared to that of the Protoss. Absolutely phenomenal play here. I do feel like Reynor is in a bit of a tough spot though, right? As soon as this army from Protoss maxes out, Reynor is going to definitely lose the engagement. There's no way that he can really hold this. Now, I do like the idea, though, of, well, once again, a bunch of really good corrosive biles. But I do like the idea here from Reynor, but he needs to switch into something that is a little more powerful here in just a little bit. Spire now coming up. I like that one a lot. So, we're already at Hive Tech. I think Greater Spire units are the best switch, right? If there's anything that doesn't shoot up, it's Immortals and Zealots, right? I guess Storm is pretty decent, but there's really not a whole lot here available for our Protoss player. Once again, a lot of High Templar do get target fire down. That means no Storm available here for Harstem. I really feel like he needs to leave some of those units in the back. At the same time, though, the Roaches and the Ravagers are moving forward, trying to engage against these Zealots, Archon, and then these Immortals as well. Gold base now is being mined from, and Reynor, yeah, he is gonna be forced to evacuate. Harstem just simply leaving one of these Phoenixes right on top of all of those Swarm hosts. All of a sudden, we see Zealot here as well, coming out of that War Prism, trying to kill that Spire, and he does successfully manage to do so. Beautiful move there, actually, by our Protoss player. All of a sudden, all over the map, this War Prism finding a bit of an angle to warp in from, and that's absolutely critical. At the same time, the Swarm hosts do force a lot of that main army of Protoss back, but he did get a kill on the gold base, and he also, once again, is getting closer and closer to that max out. War Prism, though, will be sniped down there by that one Queen, but this does significantly delay the switch towards Swarm hosts or Corruptors or even Mutalisk. At the same time, we now do see that Stargate producing its very, very first carrier. This is beautiful play here by Harstem. He bought himself a lot of time. If the Brute Lords would be roaming the map right now, I think it would be in a world of hurt. Instead, we now see Zerg forced to just continuously focus on Roaches and Hydras, and they're actually getting quite a bit of value. These Swarmos now, once again, having a bunch of their Locusts available. They're going to be sending their Locust wave towards this third base. Great Storm there, really softening up a lot of these units so they cannot deal critical amounts of damage. Harstem actually manually retargeting there to try and keep that Nexus alive. And now with that Void Ray out, I actually really do like the positioning here for Harstem. Greater Spire now, though, is morphing in. Reynor also going for that Hydralisk Den. Taking a double gold base is our Zerg player as well. The thing is, though, Harstem obviously is going to run low on resources. He only really has 4 bases right now with effectively 2 mining. The third and the fourth still have a lot of mineral patches, but these are running very, very low very quickly. He needs to secure another base. I would actually love it right now if Harstem takes this one right over here. Eventually, though, he's going to have to make sure that he has a counter available for the imminent Brute Lords. First carrier is out. I like this. First carrier is out, and they're obviously very good at just simply softening up a lot of this Zerg army. Here we go, though. 15 Corruptors. 15 Corruptors is very, very scary. Ooh, Swarmos now actually, are they being sacrificed? Oh my god! Is this a blood sacrifice? Do you think that was on purpose? I think it was actually. Oh my god. That's like suiciding in your SCVs because you got 20,000 mules to drop. That must feel pretty bad actually for the Zerg player to lose that much, but Harstem must be wondering here as well if that was just simply a mistake, allowing Reynor to now go up to a lot of these Corruptors and then obviously the Brute Lords as well. Harstem though doing a phenomenal job here, warping in units in the top right hand corner, moving forward with his main army here as well on the top right hand corner as well, and now also hitting at that third base location of Reynor. Beautiful move here by Harstem. He is going to end up losing quite a lot of the units. At the same time, though, the Corruptors have arrived. They are puking all over the main nexus, and that one was producing a mothership. Motherships take an extremely long amount of time to produce, and with that one gone, all of a sudden, right, I don't mind the position that Reynor is in. If he manages to warp in just a handful of Brute Lords right now, he can deal so much damage. How many High Templar have gone down this game? 11 High Templar have gone down. That's absolutely phenomenal. Reynor, though, still has that one Brute Lord out. A couple more are joining the fray. And I feel like this is more than enough to force this Protoss player back. One of the Void Rays now making their way towards the third base location. Or I guess this was the fourth base location of Reynor. Harstem is not going to be able to get the kill there. But now these Corruptors, man, they're being such a nuisance. These Corruptors are just simply pissing over all of these bases. There's only one carrier out. It's desperately hiding here on the left-hand side of the map. What exactly are you going to do right now? Oh my god. 3 of these... oh my god. He's just going to hang above the Stargates. He's going to snipe the carriers as soon as they come out. Oh my god. That is very dirty. Harstem now trying to get himself a couple of those Stalkers out, which definitely are pretty decent, but they're not that great at dealing against these Brute Lords, or dealing with these Brute Lords, rather, in big, big numbers. That is 8 Brute Lords right now. Still so many Corruptors out as well. Once again, they don't care about these hits. They're just killing so many bases. There's another Mothership being produced now, but that one will also not come out. At the same time, the Brute Lords are moving forward, and Reynor with a very surgically... oh my god. A very surgical strike there. Just simply dismantles his opponent's tech switch and completely blindsides Harstem here with this massive amount of Corruptors and then also Brute Lords. I really do think that he meant to sacrifice all of those Swarmos there, right? The thing is, the Swarmos kept the Protoss player back for a really long time, and while Harstem certainly managed to deal a lot of damage as well, that was absolutely brilliant there. Really well done. Now, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. Special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for supporting my content directly. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you once again in the next one.